From the outside, it looks like something out of a dream. A sprawling country estate surrounded by rolling green hills, iron gates covered in ivy, and windows that glow softly at night like candles in a cathedral. Locals call it the Dornan house, but few have ever been inside. For years, rumors have swirled about what really happens behind those tall stone walls. Is it a retreat from fame? A fortress of privacy? Or something darker? Something even Amelia Warner once struggled to understand? What began as whispers among neighbors turned into a full-blown fascination. Delivery drivers claimed they never saw Jamie Dornan himself, only staff members who appeared briefly before disappearing again. The property, tucked deep into the countryside outside London, seemed almost too quiet, the kind of silence that hides stories instead of peace. Journalists tried to get photographs, but the surrounding trees and security ensured no one got closer than the gate. Hollywood called it Jamie Dornan's mysterious mansion, a title that fit perfectly for a man known for playing characters who hid their pain behind perfection. To the outside world, Jamie's life looked flawless. A successful career, a beautiful wife, 3 daughters, and a home most people could only dream of. But to Amelia, the woman who had lived behind those walls for nearly a decade, the house carried a very different meaning. In an interview that no one expected to make headlines, Amelia finally spoke about the mansion, and what she said sent shockwaves through both Hollywood and Jamie's fans. "It's a beautiful house," she began softly, her voice calm but distant. "But it's not a home. It's a memory Jamie built, and sometimes, it still hurts to walk inside." Her words stopped the interviewer cold. The studio went quiet. Amelia didn't elaborate immediately. She just stared off for a moment, as if replaying something she'd promised herself she wouldn't say. When she continued, her tone carried a strange mixture of love and sorrow. "People think it's where we live, but really, it's where Jamie remembers." Within hours, her words were everywhere. Amelia Warner's haunting revelation about Jamie Dornan's mansion. The internet went wild. Some thought she meant the couple was on the verge of separation. Others speculated about grief, secrets, or even superstition. But Amelia's confession had opened a door no one had dared to touch before. Those close to the couple had always described Jamie as deeply private, almost too private. After his father's death in 2021, friends said he changed. He withdrew from public life for months, skipped events, and began spending long stretches alone in the countryside home he'd purchased years earlier. Most assumed it was a way to escape the spotlight. Few realized it was something else entirely. In her interview, Amelia didn't reveal details, but she hinted at the weight that hung over the place. "Every room has a story," she said quietly. "And some stories aren't finished yet." She described the house as both magnificent and haunting, filled with light in the day but heavy at night. "There are photos on the walls that no one ever sees," she added. "And music that plays when the rest of the house is silent." That single sentence, "music that plays when the rest of the house is silent," sent chills through listeners. Some interpreted it as metaphor. Others wondered if Amelia was referring to something more literal, an emotional ritual, perhaps, or a secret habit Jamie had never spoken about publicly. In the following days, tabloids published every possible theory. Jamie Dornan haunted by his past. Amelia Warner admits their mansion is a house of memories. The speculation only deepened when neighbors claimed they often heard piano music drifting faintly from the mansion late at night, long after the lights had gone out. The image of Jamie, alone at a piano, playing into the darkness, captivated fans and broke hearts in equal measure. What was he playing? What was he remembering? One article quoted an anonymous insider: "That house isn't where they entertain guests. It's not for parties or premieres. It's where Jamie hides from the world. And sometimes, from himself." As the story spread, Amelia refused to clarify her words. She ignored every request for comment, and Jamie, true to form, said nothing. But the mystery had already taken on a life of its own. People began to wonder whether the mansion was a symbol of the man himself, beautiful, distant, and filled with shadows only a few people had ever seen. By the end of the week, one question echoed across social media and talk shows alike. What memory was Amelia talking about? What secret did Jamie Dornan bury so deeply inside those walls that even his wife called the house a memory that hurts? No one knew, but everyone wanted to find out. And as journalists scrambled to uncover the truth, a single phrase appeared in the headlines again and again, haunting and irresistible. Inside Jamie Dornan's mysterious mansion. The world was ready to peek behind the gates. But what waited inside wasn't scandal. It was something far more human. Something Amelia herself had only recently come to understand. The story refused to die down. For weeks, Amelia Warner's haunting words replayed across talk shows, gossip columns, and fan discussions. That house isn't a home. It's a memory Jamie built, and sometimes, it still hurts to walk inside. What had she meant? What was hidden inside Jamie Dornan's mansion that even his wife described with pain instead of pride? As the world speculated, some guessing infidelity, others whispering about mental health, Amelia stayed silent. Jamie, too, avoided every interview request. He carried on filming his latest project in Belfast, giving polite smiles but no answers. But those who had known him longest began to notice something different, a quiet heaviness, the kind that only comes from holding something too sacred to share. And then, at last, the truth began to emerge, not through tabloids or gossip, but through Amelia herself. In a long, thoughtful feature with a British arts magazine, she decided to clarify what she had meant. Her words, though gentle, cut straight through the noise. People love mystery, she said. But what they don't understand is that some mysteries aren't meant to shock, they're meant to protect what's tender. She spoke carefully, explaining that after Jamie's father, Dr. Jim Dornan, passed away in 2021, everything changed. His father had been more than a parent. He had been Jamie's compass, the quiet force who kept him grounded through fame and chaos. When his father died, Amelia said, something in Jamie broke. He didn't talk about it publicly because that's not who he is. But I saw it, every day. The silence, the guilt, the sadness he didn't know where to put. The mansion, she revealed, was never built to impress Hollywood. It was built to hold on to something that Jamie couldn't let go of. Inside its grand design was a single room that meant more than the rest of the house combined. A music room, softly lit and almost untouched since its creation. Amelia described it vividly. There's an old upright piano, the kind his father used to play when Jamie was a boy. On the wall are photos, family, childhood, his first acting job. There's a record player that only plays vinyl, and on the shelf, there's one record he keeps returning to. The same jazz album his father loved. Every night, when the house goes quiet, Jamie goes in there. He doesn't play for anyone. He just sits and listens. The revelation turned the public conversation upside down. What had been framed as secrecy now felt like devotion, a son's way of holding onto memory in a world that demanded constant forward motion. Jamie himself eventually confirmed Amelia's account in a rare, emotional interview. Sitting in a quiet corner of a BBC studio, he looked thoughtful, his voice lower than usual. When my dad passed, I didn't really know how to grieve, he admitted. I was traveling, working, smiling for cameras while I was falling apart inside. So I built something. A place where I could remember him without the world watching. He paused, glancing away before continuing. People thought it was a mansion, but to me, it's more like a sanctuary. Every photograph, every song, every bit of wood and stone has something of him in it. Amelia understood that, even when it was hard for her. For the first time, fans saw beyond the actor, beyond the polished image. They saw the man, a son still mourning, a husband still learning how to heal. Amelia's earlier statement, "It still hurts to walk inside," suddenly made perfect sense. That house wasn't haunted by ghosts. It was haunted by love that never had a proper goodbye. Sometimes I can't go in there, she confessed. The air feels too heavy, like the past hasn't finished speaking yet. But I know it's helped him. I see it in his eyes every time he comes out. The public reaction was unexpectedly gentle. Instead of judgment, there was empathy. Fans flooded social media with messages of support and stories of their own grief. One comment that went viral read, "It's not a mansion. It's a love letter built out of bricks." In the months that followed, Jamie's interviews took on a new honesty. He spoke more freely about loss, about family, and about the illusion of perfection that fame demands. "People see the glamour," he said, "but they don't see the loneliness. The house reminded me that I can't outrun pain. You have to sit with it." As for the mansion, Amelia said it had changed meaning for her too. "At first I thought it kept him distant," she reflected. "But now I understand. That's where he goes to come back to us." The story ended not with scandal, but with a soft truth. That behind every mysterious door, there's often not darkness, but memory. And that sometimes, the most beautiful homes aren't built to impress the world. They're built to keep love alive. In one of his rare posts after the interview, Jamie shared a quiet photo of the piano room bathed in evening light. The caption was simple. "He used to play, now I just listen." And just like that, the mystery that had once fascinated Hollywood became something else entirely. A reminder that even the most untouchable lives are built on fragile, human hearts still learning how to heal.